And what if the thing your dog needs most from you has nothing to do with walks, food, toys, or training? What if it is something so simple that, when you hear it, your first instinct will be to think, there is no way that is it? And what if you were missing it every single day? Not because you are a bad owner, but because no one ever told you this was happening. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most dogs spend their entire lives trying to communicate one specific thing to the person they love most. And most owners spend their entire lives without ever truly receiving that message. Not because they do not care, but because no one ever explained what that message actually looks like. By the end of this video, that changes. Stay with me because what comes at number 4 is the one that hits the deepest. And most people who watch this tell us they had no idea they were getting it wrong. 1. Stop staring at your dog when he does something wrong. You know this moment. Your dog has done something, chewed something, knocked something over, grabbed something he was not supposed to. You catch him in the act, turn toward him, and without thinking, lock onto him with a long, firm, unblinking stare. And you say his name in that tone. You think you are communicating disappointment. Your dog is experiencing something completely different. In canine social language, a direct, hard, sustained stare is not correction. It is a display of threat. It is the same signal a dominant animal uses to initiate a confrontation. Your dog's nervous system does not interpret it as my owner is disappointed in me. It interprets it as something dangerous is about to happen. That freezing you sometimes see, the dog going completely still, head lowered, eyes looking up, that is not guilt. Researchers have documented this widely. That is appeasement behavior. It is your dog using everything in his body language vocabulary to say, please, do not escalate this. I am not a threat. I am trying to make this stop. And here is what that does over time. A study published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior showed that dogs subjected to frequent aversive or confrontational interactions with their owners, even unintentionally, had significantly higher baseline anxiety levels and were less likely to approach their owner voluntarily in neutral situations. They are not exactly afraid of you. They are just never completely sure which version of you they are going to get. The solution is not complicated. Redirect instead of staring. Move calmly instead of looming over him. Use your voice to interrupt the behavior, not your eyes to challenge the animal. Because the dog you want, the one who feels relaxed around you, who chooses to be by your side, who fully trusts you, cannot exist if part of him is always calculating whether the next eye contact with you is safe. 2. When he comes to check on you, let him finish. This seems small. It is not small. Your dog walks over to you while you are sitting quietly. He comes close. He smells your hand. He briefly touches his nose to your arm or your face. He is gathering information, checking your chemistry, silently assessing how you are doing. And most owners, in that moment, immediately reach out and start petting him. It feels like the natural response. It feels like connection. But from your dog's point of view, you just interrupted a sentence he was in the middle of saying. Dogs assess the people they are bonded to through scent and physical closeness in a way far more detailed than most owners imagine. Your body chemistry tells them things your face never could. Whether you are stressed, unwell, emotionally dysregulated, or okay. This check-in is intentional. It has a purpose. It is your dog doing something that is genuinely important to him. When you immediately turn that moment into a petting session, you change the dynamic. You make it about your need to touch him instead of his need to assess you. Try something different. The next time your dog comes over and initiates this kind of silent check-in, keep your hands still. Let him finish. Let him take as much time as he needs. And only after he has completed what he came to do, if he leans into you, looks at you, or simply stays there content, then respond. The difference in what you will feel coming from your dog in those moments is striking because you finally allowed him to complete what he came over to do. And a dog who is allowed to finish his sentences eventually starts saying more. 3. Let him know when something difficult is coming. Here is something we do to dogs every single day that we would never do to another person we care about. We change their world without warning. The arrival of a new baby moving to a new home, a family member leaving, a new pet arriving, surgery, a phase of your life when your routine changes completely, a trip where someone else will be taking care of him. For you, these things come with context, with mental preparation, with time to adjust. For your dog, they simply happen. One day, the world is one thing, the next day, it is another. And he has no framework to explain that shift, no language to ask what is happening, and no way to know whether the change is permanent or temporary. A study by researchers at Stockholm University found that dogs showed significantly higher cortisol levels during periods of disruption in the home environment, and that the stress response was clearly more severe when the change happened suddenly instead of gradually. You cannot explain a move to your dog with words, but you can change how you behave in the weeks leading up to it. You can take him to the new home before the move. You can let him explore the new environment at his own pace. You can keep the parts of his routine that are most connected to his sense of safety during a period when other things are changing. What you should not do is what most owners do, which is nothing, because they assume the dog will simply adapt. Sometimes he does adapt, but the cost of that adaptation, the anxiety, the change in sleep, the stress hormones that stay elevated for weeks, is real and invisible to the people who caused it. Your dog has spent his whole life waiting for you to understand that change is not neutral for him. Even a small gesture, keeping consistency in the things that matter most when everything else is unstable, is a form of care that reaches him in a way nothing else can. Have you ever noticed a change in your dog's behavior, or heard about a friend's or relative's dog completely changing after a move? The arrival of a baby or a sudden shift in routine? Share it with us in the comments. Your story can help everyone. Also, give your like on the video. It is incredibly valuable to us. 4. Let him say no. This is the point. Your dog has a vocabulary, a real vocabulary, not made of words, but of body language, posture, movement, microsignals that are documented, consistent, and meaningful. And within that vocabulary, he has a clear way of saying, "Not now. I do not want this. Please stop." The head turning to the side, the lip lick, the slight lean backward, the yawn at an unexpected moment, the body that becomes still instead of relaxed. This is not random. These are sentences. And most owners do not just miss them, they override them. The child who wants to hug the dog and the dog whose entire body is communicating, "No, please," and the owner who says, "Go ahead." He loves it. The grooming session where the dog is giving every sign of discomfort, and the owner keeps going because it has to be done. The stranger who reaches toward the dog's head, and the owner who says, "Sorry, he is shy," but does not step in. Every time this happens, your dog learns something. His communication does not work. The signals he sends do not produce a result. And over time, a dog who has learned that his signals do not work stops sending them clearly. Research from the University of Bristol School of Veterinary Sciences found that dogs with more autonomy over physical interactions showed fewer anxiety behaviors and formed stronger voluntary bonds with their handlers than dogs in interactions controlled entirely by the human. Less control from you, more trust from him. That is what your dog has spent his entire life waiting for. Not for you to be perfect. Not for you to be trained, full of knowledge, or using the right commands. But for you to listen when he speaks. For you to hear a no and respect it. Because a dog who trusts that his no will be respected does not need to escalate. He does not need to growl, nip, or shut down completely. He can communicate in silence, with the earliest and softest signal, knowing it will be understood. That is not a dog being controlled. That is a dog who feels safe enough to tell you the truth. 5. Be the same person every day. Not perfect, the same. Your dog does not need you to be endlessly patient. He does not need you to never have a bad day, or to always be available, or to offer constant stimulation and interaction. What he needs is to be able to predict you. Research on canine stress and owner behavior has consistently shown that unpredictability in the primary owner, not harshness, not neglect, but simple inconsistency, is among the strongest indicators of chronic anxiety in domestic dogs. An owner who is affectionate one day and distant the next, who plays with excitement on the weekend and ignores the dog during the week, who sets rules that change depending on their mood. For a dog, that unpredictability is exhausting because he cannot map you. And if he cannot map you, he cannot relax beside you. Not fully, not in the way that allows him to be the dog he is trying to be. The version of your dog you most want to see, loose, present, open, confident, can only exist when his nervous system decides it is safe to stop monitoring. And that monitoring only stops when the person being monitored becomes predictable enough to be trusted. You do not need to be an extraordinary owner. You need to be a consistent owner. Show up in a similar way most of the time in the moments that matter to him. Feed him around the same time. Walk him with the same patience. Respond to his signals with the same attention, regardless of how your day went. Your dog has spent his whole life waiting for the version of you that is always the version you are. Not the best version, just the reliable one. Something else that is part of many dog owners' routine is seeing their dog stretch right near us. And that is a very important sign, not just a stretch. In this video right here on the screen, I explain the real reason behind why your dog stretches when he sees you. And no, it is not just because he just woke up. Click on the screen and stay with me in the incredible world of dogs.